I'm Marilyn Nagel. I'm the leader of Inclusion and Diversity for Cisco Systems. And I'm going to talk a little bit today about a question that I get asked all the time, which is, how do we handle inclusion and diversity when we're given economic times that we're currently in? So we have three areas that we focus on in inclusion and diversity, and I've talked about these before, but I'll go over them again if you haven't been listening to my blogs. The first one is recruiting and attracting and recruiting diverse talent. And so the low-cost solution that we've been dealing with in that area, and this is, I think, a creative suggestion that came from one of our recruiters in the staffing organization, is that we used to spend a lot of money on large booths and receptions at some of the national conferences, or even local conferences like Society of Women Engineers, for example. So we wanted to have a big presence there, and we were giving out gifts, gift bags with Cisco merchandise, and we were having large receptions and all kinds of things, and we would do some interviews there for people to attract them to Cisco. And so this year we took a much more personal approach. What we do is we ask for applicants for a Cisco scholarship. So we know that we're getting people pre-qualified, we know that we're getting the kind of people that we want to attract to Cisco. We stay in touch with the people, and our recruiting rate of those folks who are getting scholarships is huge. So that's a great example of how we're coming up with a low-cost solution to an issue that we don't want to let go of. We want to continue recruiting from universities. We just need to do it in a more cost-effective way. Our second focus area that I'm going to give you an example about is developing and engaging and retaining diverse employees. And that's definitely something we always want to focus on, no matter what the economic times are, because we know people are at least 20% more productive if they're engaged. So when you're trying to do more with less, we definitely want to make sure our folks are engaged. So one of the things that we used to do is all of our employee resource groups were holding development seminars. And that would mean perhaps our CBEN organization, the Black Employee Network, would hold a development session, and our Conexión, which is for Hispanic employees, would hold a development section. And what we decided to do was to ask them to work collaboratively and hold those sessions together where it makes sense. So building your personal brand is always a popular topic for people who are trying to build their careers. And it's not really that much different if you are Asian or Hispanic or in the GLBT community. So we have now groups of 3 employee resource groups working collaboratively and holding these development activities. We get greater participation, and it's a wonderful way to start mixing the populations of these different affinity networks. Our third focus area is building a culture of inclusion. And that's one that is a constant thread, and no matter how good we get at this inclusive environment, we're always going to try and ensure that we spread the message. We have over 60,000 employees, and we want to make sure that this touches all of our employees. So in past years, we used to hold a diversity symposium where we invited leaders from around the world to come together, the employee resource group leaders and the functional diversity leaders, to come together and spend a day in both development activities, networking, and hearing from some of our senior executives. We held our first virtual global inclusive symposium. Instead of touching 125 people, this year we were able to impact over 500. And the material from the virtual symposium will be used over and over again throughout at least this year, if not future years. We were able to do development activities, understanding Gen Y, understanding coaching and mentoring. We heard from a lot of our senior leaders. We were able to involve over 30 senior leaders at Cisco in various panel discussions with internal and external experts on topics. The response has been phenomenal, and people were able to tune into a session throughout the day. Depending on their geography, we're also more sensitive to the fact that people are in different time zones, so they may not want to tune into a session midday if that's middle of the night for them, but they can replay those. I've heard from so many people that they loved the sessions that they attended and plan to go back and listen to some of the other sessions at their leisure. And they can do that from home, they can do that from anywhere, because everyone at Cisco is connected to the network. So this was not only a great extension of our diversity message, it was a huge savings in money, and the reach was much larger.